Good day, everyone. We are pleased that every one of us are able to attend this meeting for this important presentation. We want to acknowledge and greet our research teacher, Dr. Erlinda Palomera, greetings to our invited guests and panelists, and lastly, our fellow researchers. We are the group of researchers with our study entitled, next slide, Status of Modern Lifestyle and the Extent of Unhealthy Physical Condition Experienced by SHS students of Mindoro State University. Before we proceed to our presentation proper, I want to introduce to you the researchers who authored this study. First, Nina Clivel Castillo, Catherine Recto, Christine Joy Gutierrez, Janace Alex Calda, Christina Cassandra Catanglao, Ivy Crisal Bae, Kizia Luis Umali, John Clement Carandang, Ahizi Rodriguez, and lastly, Enrico Quixera. So here is the table of content. First is introduction, second, methodology, next is results and discussion, then conclusions, and lastly, the recommendations. Introduction. As time passes by, people's way of life change along with modernity. Modern life, together with the presence of technology and social media, has played a significant role in the change in how different people live in the present time. And this can definitely be observed in the current lifestyle of people. Nowadays, people, particularly those in their teenage years, seems to be too much attached on their gadgets, having their online life updated. This mainly is the root of another modern lifestyle that they have been practicing for a while now. They tend to normalize sleeping very late, which currently became their new sleeping pattern. Lifestyle is an essential factor in health. The way they live their life drives the physical state of an individual. Either it is healthy or unhealthy. If one cannot control or manifest the correct lifestyle in this modern generation, and they chose the unhealthy track, there could be a high possibility that they can acquire negative results from it. So under the introduction, we have the objectives. Number one, determine the current status of modern lifestyle in terms of physical activity, sleeping pattern, and technology addiction. This study provides assessment as to how this modern lifestyle became beneficial or useful to them, as well as the possibility of being the reason behind negative impact of it to the physical condition of the students. Number two, seek the degree or extent of unhealthy physical condition, namely lack of energy, being prone to diseases, and having headaches that were possibly experienced by the SHS students of Mitsu, Calapan City campus. And lastly, number three, find the significant relationship between the status of modern lifestyle and unhealthy physical condition experienced by SHS students. Next slide.
Under the methodology, the researcher utilized quantitative and correlational research method. Using a quantitative research strategy, that interpretation of respondent responses was formed objectively. On the other hand, the purpose of employing the correlational method is to perceive the significant relationship between the status of modern lifestyle and the extent of unhealthy physical condition. The approach that is applied to guide this research was numeric quantification. The source of the data in this study were the 50 senior high school students STEM of Mindoro State University campus. The respondents were chosen equally through simple random sampling technique. A self-made questionnaire was utilized as a primary tool in gathering the respondents' responses in order to determine the status of modern lifestyle and the extent of unhealthy physical condition, and to find out if there is a significant relationship between the status of modern lifestyle and the extent of unhealthy physical condition. Next slide. The survey questionnaire were administered and distributed through sending Google Forms to each of selected respondents via Messenger. And the same goes to retrieval. The researcher coordinated to the respondents respectfully and extend their gratitude for cooperation. The data collected were statistically measured and analyzed. The researchers used discrete statistical analysis in measuring the data gathered, wherein the researcher objectively measured and analyzed and summarized the answer or responses of the respondents. Next slide.
Results and discussion. Status of modern lifestyle of senior high school student in terms of physical activity. Based on the data gathered, it reveals that the status of modern lifestyle in terms of physical activity viewed on the negative perspective determined through the items provided. Students are not that active and immersed in physical activities such as exercises or even household chores, proven in the result described as sometimes, which inferred that they are in the middle rate of accepting that they are non-interactive in fitness activities these days. Students are often unable to do exercises like simply jogging and Zumba due to the lack of available time and motivation as well as procrastination. In line with this, the data shows that the students sometimes more likely to enjoy lying down all day doing nothing and spend time sitting instead of doing physical activities. This generally implies that as part of evolving modern lifestyle, involvement of students in physical activity was lessening due to the modernity. It further implies that nowadays, fitness of the students are on the edge, which implicates unproductivity and somehow shows a negative glimpse of their health. In addition, modern day living is a multifaceted compendium of evolving technology and social media. Students are unable to do physical activity because of the lack of time and also because of this modern lifestyle that evolves with technology. Modern lifestyle has been drastically changing the way our society functions, and based on the results, because of the modernity, it also involves the lessening of physical activities of the students. Next po.
Status of modern lifestyle of senior high school students in terms of sleeping pattern. The data revealed that the modern lifestyle of the students in terms of their sleeping pattern is often to be scheduled late at night, not enough, can be easily distracted, and more likely to take a nap instead of a proper sleep at night. The data shows that the students more often prefer sleeping at night, having only 4 to 6 hours of sleep, experience hard time sleeping even though their eyes are already tired, and take naps more than usual instead of getting enough sleep every night. Along with it, students sometimes wake up in the middle of their sleep unintentionally and find it hard to continue sleeping. Next slide.
Status of modern lifestyle of SHS students in terms of technology addiction. Based on the results from the data gathered, it reveals that the status of the modern lifestyle in terms of technology addiction is at a high level. Students are taught to engage and immerse in using technology for different purposes, as proven by the results interpreted as often. Students often stay up late just to use gadgets and spend more than half their day and or even more just browsing and playing on their cell phones or other gadgets. It makes them often check their phones first thing in the morning, check updates on social media using their gadgets, and feel uneasy in the absence of gadgets without being able to check updates from time to time. On the other hand, students perceive that they rarely have their eyes on the screen while doing something. This overall implies that technology is becoming a huge part of everyone's lifestyle today as it influences and affects the day-to-day activities of a person, which we can have which can have a negative effect on their health. Next page, please.
Extent of lack of energy as unhealthy physical condition experienced by the senior high school students. Depicted from the data gathered on this study, the extent of unhealthy physical conditions reveals that the students rarely experience inability to lift moderate heavy objects due to lack of strength. In line with this, with sometimes as description, they easily get exhausted, quickly run out of breath, too tired to accomplish things, and experience inability to engage in physically demanding activities. Also, the data shows that the students often feel sleepy and exhausted despite doing nothing.
Extent of being prone to disease as unhealthy physical condition experienced by the senior high school students. The data shows that the extent of unhealthy physical condition of senior high school students in terms of being prone to disease is not that severe or highly recommended to instantly consult a physician. The data indicates that sometimes students easily get flu after exposure to sudden change of temperature, experience having pale skin and low blood pressure, suffer from numbness and other body pains, and unable to sweat in a normal rate. On the other hand, students perceive that they rarely gain weight above normal in a short span of time. In general, the extent of being prone to disease as unhealthy physical condition was sometimes experienced as perceived by the senior high school students. It means that the students are not healthy enough to protect themselves from diseases, especially because the pandemic is still ongoing and the COVID virus has been found in many locations. Furthermore, this exposes the student to several health dangers. Next slide.
Extent of having headaches as unhealthy physical condition experienced by the SHS students. Stated in the data gathered, the extent of having headaches as unhealthy physical condition was sometimes experienced by the students. To be specific, students often experience headaches when they are exposed to electronic devices such as smartphones, experience headache and eye pain after concentrating on a task for an extended period of time, and also often experience getting dizzy after standing up. Moreover, sometimes students deal with drawing headache due to irregular sleeping pattern and have occasional bouts of temporary nausea. Along with it, some students perceive that they rarely suffer from tremendous headache even after waking up from sleep. In conclusion, it implies that students these days living in the modern lifestyle more likely to experience headaches due to factors such as exposure to gadgets, excessive concentration, and even sudden movement of the body. These results suggest that the students are not that healthy to prevent suffering from headaches, which makes it as one of unhealthy physical conditions. Next slide.
These were the findings on the status of modern lifestyle of senior high school students of Minso Laboratory High School, CCC, based on the results given. Based on the results, the status of physical activity as a form of modern lifestyle students are not that active and engaged when it comes to this kind of activities that equates to fitness. This study also finds out that students are in between as revealed by the overall assessment inferred as sometimes. They are more likely to just hang around entertaining online world with their gadgets and not deeply involving themselves on physical activities. Next slide. As for the status of sleeping pattern as a modern lifestyle, students are highly attached to this lifestyle as clearly showed by the data wherein students' responses are impaired often. In general, this means that as part of the modernized world and lifestyle, students are obviously attached to the negative sleeping pattern that they are now normalizing these days.
In the status of the modern lifestyle in terms of technology addiction, this study found out that the students, in spite of modernized world, they are not that associated and too attached on their gadgets. Nevertheless, because they are already exposed to the modern lifestyle popular by this generation, they are still vulnerable to the possibilities of getting addict or attached to the technology as perceived by their responses inferred as sometimes.
The findings on the extent of unhealthy physical conditions in terms of lack of energy, being prone to disease, says, and having headaches are the following. A. Based on the results, the extent of lack of energy that was most experienced by the senior high school students were feeling sleeping despite doing nothing. This implies that students in general sometimes feel lack on energy at an early age, which determines that they also lack on some physical activity.
The findings imply that the majority of Minsu senior high school students who live in their own modern lifestyle suffer from or experience numbness or other body pains on a regular basis. In conclusion, this study finds out that they are sometimes vulnerable to diseases, mostly flu and cold. As per the result, due to the modern lifestyle practiced by the senior high school student of Minsu, they often experience getting dizzy after standing up. Furthermore, due to the factors brought by the modern lifestyle, such as technology addiction and sleeping pattern, students perceive that they sometimes experience headaches.
Number three, the relationship between the status of modern lifestyle and the extent of unhealthy physical condition was determined and inferred as a strongly negative correlation with 0.9 computed R value. This implies that as the rate of status of modern lifestyle viewed on a negative perception increase, it does not trigger the student's unhealthy physical condition. Regardless of the massive evolution of lifestyle from traditional to modern, students are still mindful of their physical state.
These are the conclusions of this study. First, the current state of the modern lifestyle of students in terms of physical activity, sleeping patterns, and technology addiction is concerning and poor as they are vulnerable to living an unhealthy lifestyle. They are too immersed in the sedentary modern lifestyle that it allows them to be inactive in performing healthy lifestyle tasks, such as physical activities or exercises, getting enough sleep, and controlling their use of technology, which, when abused, somehow has a negative effect on their health. Next, the students are vulnerable to unhealthy physical conditions such as having lack of energy, being prone to diseases, and having headaches. As they continue living the modern lifestyle, which shows how they perform physical activity and their sleeping patterns, this would somehow have a negative effect on their health or physical state. Next, there is a strong negative correlation between the status of a modern lifestyle and the extent of an unhealthy physical lifestyle. As the status of a modern lifestyle viewed from a negative perception increases, but doesn't trigger the student's unhealthy physical condition, which means that despite the massive evolution of lifestyles from traditional to modern, students are still mindful of their physical state. Modern life may increase the risk of some physical problems, but striking a balance between online and real world social relationships going forward may help to keep our physical health in check. And all in, based on the conclusions of this study, sedentary activities on modern lifestyle involves a dramatic reduction on their physical condition, which there is no doubt what we put into our bodies nutritionally directly affects our health.
And for the recommendations, first, senior high school students must balance the modern lifestyle and be mindful on the state of their health to prevent or lessen the risk of unhealthy physical condition. In addition, they must engage themselves more on physical activities, fix a sleeping pattern, and try to limit technology usage to achieve a healthy lifestyle in today's modernized world. So despite being strongly negative correlational, the researchers still suggest the senior high school students of Mindoro State University Calampan campus to be mindful of their health and balance their modern lifestyle. It may appear that the modern lifestyles indicated in the study do not trigger their unhealthy physical condition, but they must still practice a healthy lifestyle, such as engaging themselves in more physically engaging activities, fixing their sleeping patterns, and limiting their use of technology in order to prevent themselves from acquiring possible risks from other unhealthy physical conditions that are not included in the study. Next, number two, school teachers, personnel must conduct different programs that can help students regulate their modern lifestyle without harming their physical state. They can initiate forums that discuss about the benefits of being immersed and performing physical activity regularly, tips to have enough sleep, and things to do to limit or lessen too much involvement in technology. Having the guidance and help of the teachers in conducting programs such as physical activities and forums concerning the health and fitness of the students would be a very effective way to encourage the students to live and practice a healthy lifestyle, as they can enjoy performing physical activities while being physically active. These forums also would help the students learn and be aware of their negative lifestyles that have bad effects on their health, like sleeping late at night and engaging themselves with too much technology usage. Along with this, they would also be aware of the tips and things to do to manage their lifestyles and the benefits of a balanced modern lifestyles on the physical state of a person. Next slide. And number three, public health personnel should continue spreading awareness and conduct consultation to manage modern lifestyle that could possibly affect the physical condition of people, especially the youth. Through this generation's awareness will increase and good feedback from their behavior and habits as the potential result will be beneficial to their physical state. So it is important that the public health personnel conduct campaigns like spreading awareness concerning health issues and lifestyles of the people, as well as giving consultations on how to manage it in order for the students to be aware of the proper lifestyles that they should practice, and also to prevent a lifestyle that may affect their physical state or conditions and that may be bad for their health. Number four, parents should raise their concerns to the lifestyle their children are practicing and help them to manage and balance it in order to excel possibilities of experiencing unhealthy physical condition. So it is important that the parents know their children's lifestyle so that they could monitor and help them on how to manage and balance it, and also to give them advice of what lifestyle they should practice in order to live healthy and reduce the possible risk of acquiring unhealthy physical conditions, specifically severe diseases. And last one, future researchers can conduct further study to enrich deeper conditions on modern lifestyle and unhealthy physical conditions in students.
And that's all for our presentation. Thank you for listening. We are now humbly accepting your questions and recommendations.